let's just be honest. The leadership playbook you were taught, it's pretty much obsolete. I mean, in a world where AI can out-strategize even the sharpest human minds, the very definition of what it means to be a leader is totally up for grabs. So, what's our role when the machines get this smart? That's the exact question we're going to dive into today. First, we're going to look at why those old models are just cracking under the pressure. And then, I'm going to introduce you to a new compass, a really powerful framework for leading in this new reality. So let's just put the question right on the table. Is the old playbook really broken? You know, when you think about the sheer speed of change we're all facing, the answer isn't just yes, it's an absolute, undeniable certainty. And this, right here, gets to the very heart of the disruption. AI is already automating the stuff that used to define a manager's job. You know, data analysis, allocating resources, even planning out strategy. Look, this isn't science fiction anymore. This is happening right now. And it's forcing us to completely rethink the human part of leadership.
So if the old map is useless, how do we navigate this new world? Well, we need a new compass. And not one that just points to a single true north, but one that helps us get our bearings using 4 distinct points, 4 crucial intelligences.
And here it is. This is the new model. Pointing north, representing our purpose, our why, we have SQ, spiritual intelligence. To the east, how we connect is EQ, emotional intelligence. To the south, our scale is AI itself, artificial intelligence. And to the west, our strategy, our what, is good old IQ, intellectual intelligence. Let's break down how these all work together, starting with the 2 you probably already know pretty well.
All right, let's start with the foundation, the 2 intelligences that are, already part of the leadership conversation. Honestly, you can think of these as the price of admission for leading anything today. It is so important to get their different roles. IQ, that's your classic brain power. The analysis, the logic, all that good stuff. It's essential for sure. But EQ, that's the human connection. To put it really simply, your IQ might get you the job, but it's your EQ that makes people actually want to follow you.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Now, let's talk about the amplifiers. These are the 2 elements that really elevate leadership from just being effective to being truly profoundly impactful in this new era. This is where it gets really interesting.
First up is SQ, or spiritual intelligence. I want you to think of this as your personal true north. It's what guides your leadership with a deep sense of purpose. It connects every decision you make back to your core values. It is the why behind everything you do. And listen, we have to be crystal clear about this, because it's the #1 misunderstanding. In this context, SQ has absolutely nothing to do with religion. This is all about your secular connection to meaning, to your ethical grounding. That's it.
So, in practice, a leader with high SQ is constantly wrestling with these big, tough questions. They're obsessed with making sure the work isn't just profitable, but that it's actually purposeful. You could say they are the guardian of the organization's soul.
And the stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't just some feel-good idea. Without SQ, leadership is just chasing numbers, and it feels hollow. Or even worse, a leader can use their smarts and their charm, their IQ and EQ, to manipulate people towards a goal that's ethically empty, or even dangerous. SQ is the critical guardrail. Which brings us to our final point on the compass, AI. And here's the most important thing to get about its role. AI is neutral. It's just a tool, a ridiculously powerful amplifier. It doesn't have its own moral compass. It just takes whatever intent we give it and scales it up to 11, for better or for worse.
So, now we have all 4 pieces on the board. Let's see how they click together to form this new equation for modern leadership. This is where it all gets really, really powerful.
So, let's start by just combining pure intellect, our IQ, with the power of AI. What do you get? You get ruthless efficiency. I mean, it's incredibly fast, it's perfectly optimized, but it's cold. It lacks any sort of human dimension. It can perfectly execute the what, but it has absolutely no concept of how or why.
But now let's layer in EQ. Suddenly, you move way beyond just efficiency. You start creating empathetic solutions at scale. Now you're harnessing all of that incredible power to connect with and serve people in a genuinely human way. And now, for the final, most crucial piece of the puzzle, SQ. This is the end game. When you combine that purpose-driven leadership with empathetic connection, and then you amplify all of it with AI, you don't just get efficiency, and you don't just get scale, you get amplified wisdom. You are scaling meaningful, ethical impact across the board.
Look, if you take only one single idea away from our time together today, please make it this one. AI is the lever that is powerful enough to move the entire world, but SQ is the compass that tells us which direction we should push. So let's just put it all together in one simple model. Your IQ, that defines what you'll do, your strategy. Your EQ defines how you'll do it, through connection and relationships. Your SQ provides that critical why, your purpose, your direction. And finally, AI determines your scale, the speed and the reach of your overall impact.
Okay, so understanding this framework is one thing, but actually putting it into practice, that's the real work. So this isn't just some abstract idea. I see this as a direct challenge to anyone who really wants to lead effectively into the future.
So I want you to just honestly reflect for a moment. In your day-to-day leadership, which one of these intelligences is your default setting? Are you all about logic and IQ, all about connection and EQ, purpose and SQ, or are you focused on scale with AI? What's your go-to move?
And now for the most important question of all. Looking at that compass, which point do you need to intentionally, deliberately strengthen to become the leader that the future actually needs? Because identifying that area and then committing to developing it, that is the true work of a modern leader. And that is how you'll navigate whatever comes next.